So what is embodied grace? Embodied grace is freedom, freedom from self-criticism, freedom from negative thinking, freedom from anxiety, worry. Embodied grace is embracing your truth and embracing and loving your life, embracing self-awareness by doing what is right for you. Seriously, people, like you've got to learn to do what is right for you and let go of what everybody else says that you should do. Because let's face it, we're going to get shoulds from all kinds of people. You should do this. You should do that. We need to let go of that and start trusting that we know within ourselves what is right for us. Embodied grace is claiming your worth, aligning with your purpose, setting intentions, and moving in clarity, being in divine flow, knowing what your soul purpose is and trusting that and moving into it. This is really the purpose, you guys, that I had when I wrote the first book, Embodied Grace, A Woman's Path to Empowerment. And this is video 2 in the series that I'm doing about this book. But what I really want to have you do is start feeling into your body, because we all have a divine purpose. We're all here for a divine reason. We have this divine spark within us, and it's just time to wake that up and start learning to connect with that and trust it, and really live life from the spiritual truth, abundance and happiness and peace and joy. The thing is, you don't have to be anything other than normal or ordinary, right? Right? You don't have to have this spectacular story, because I'm just a normal person, but I have trusted my divine gifts. I believe that God has something special for all of us. And above all, that's what you've got to hang on to, is knowing that God made you special and that you have a unique reason for being here on the planet. You have everything inside you already. Like this is like the hard truth, right? Like we all already have everything locked inside of us. It's just, we don't know how to access it. We don't know because we haven't been taught. So the whole idea and the purpose of the book Embodied Grace was to learn to be able to step into those aspects, right? To step into success, to step into happiness, to step into joy, clarity, prosperity, and abundance. And everybody's going to have a different definition of what those are. But the thing is, when you do the work, and the book is supposed to help you realize the same freedom for yourself and whatever your variation of that freedom is. When you learn to step into your own version of embodied grace, that's when your life can begin to change. Okay. Now, chances are a lot of the people that have read this book, a lot of people that resonate with my work, you would say life is pretty good. Like it's okay. It's, according to the quote unquote society standards, like you shouldn't really complain. You probably have a decent job and a decent family and your circumstances are decent. But maybe deep inside you have this yearning saying there's something more. And I'm telling you, if that is calling you, trust it, because it's time to wake up. It's time to go deeper. It's time to find higher understanding. That something more that is calling me, that they're calling to you, that something more that you'd like to achieve, that something more that you're supposed to do in life. All you have to do is follow that inkling, follow that divine nudge, follow that intuitive hit, follow that gut feeling, and knowing that your angels are guiding you to places that you begin to wake up. Because when you can start to embody grace for yourself, it changes everything. The one thing that I want to encourage you is, if you're listening to this video series or if you're reading the book or both, again, you guys, this book is a free download in the Facebook community. It's called Embodied Grace Community. Again, a Facebook group. You can get a free download of this book. But when you're going through this, I want you to just have like a pen and paper handy, and whatever comes to you, whatever comes in your mind, whatever gets stirred up, sit with that, journal on it, go deeper. Why did I think of that? What is it showing me? What am I afraid of? Right? I just want to give you a little bit of background on me. My journey has been so interesting, and probably maybe it's taken longer than it really needed to. I kind of laugh and joke with my clients and say, what took me 8 years, I can help you get through in 8 weeks, because it's really not hard. It's just not knowing how to do these things, right? And one of the things that I felt was missing from a lot of the teachers that I love to work with, right? Like I've read so many different books, and there's been so many different great teachers that I've read their books and taken the notes, just like I'm encouraging you to do. If you read an inspiring book, if you read a self-motivational book, if you read a self-help book, if you read a spiritual book, take notes, do the work. Like that what we're doing is understanding and coming to the realization of the true divine nature that is within all of us. So to take you a little bit on my journey, I just want to tell you, like, I feel like I am just typical, average, ordinary, right? The only difference is that I've always been psychic. I was born that way. I've always been able to tap into the divine. It's just part of who I am, although I hid from it for a long time, right? But a lot of the big quote unquote gurus, or a lot of the big names out there, they like had these ridiculous circumstances, and they're like living in these devastating things. And like, whenever I hear that, I'm like, man, it's so motivational. And then there was a part of me that was like, geek, I would not want to have to go through that to be able to get to the success that I want to have in my life. Like, I really don't want to have to go to that rock bottom. Right. So what if we don't have to? What if we can say right now, today, I am deciding that I'm going to change my life, not having to go clear into, the depths of despair to be able to get there. And then, now that being said, there will be times where you go through little phases of like the dark night of the soul or whatever, but that's part of being human. Part of being human is experiencing that. Part of being human is working through the emotional responses that we have, working through the emotions that are trapped in our body, working through um all of the emotions and the experience that we've had so far. And some of this is generational programming, right? So you may have heard those stories, the ones that really inspire us and make our hearts swell. And we think about everything that they had to overcome. And it's like this, this combination of sorrow and pride and hope and sadness. And then we're in awe of what they can do. And we think if they can overcome those obstacles, then we should surely be able to thrive because we don't have it nearly as bad, right? I'm sure you know those kind of stories. And after hearing those stories, you can get full of motivation, right? And then you get back to your normal routine in a few days and you're like, wow, I'm so lucky I never had to go through that. And then it puts you into this like energy of settling. Like, it's okay. I shouldn't want any more because I already have what's okay, right? Like what I have is already decent. But what if you can have more than decent? What if you can have more than just enough, right? I just want you to kind of soak that in, because I'm just saying, I don't think everybody has to hit that quote unquote rock bottom before they can step into the divine greatness that God has for all of us. So again, you guys, no life shattering, earth shaking traumas in my life. Now I've experienced some of the regular ones, right? Like I had siblings. My mom and dad got a divorce. Like there was basic little things that a lot of people go through. This is things that a lot of people go through. So I don't feel like it's a big deal. Like my life hasn't been glamorous or whatever, but it also hasn't been terrible, right? Like I was a small town girl. I feel like most of my life was fairly normal, right? Again, this fairly normal thing. Um, so again, no earth shattering, right? But there's been transitions in life. There have been things that we've gone through. Um, I got married when I was 20. We have two kids. Like there's been a few things like we've been through a car wreck that was really pretty bad. It took me 10 months of therapy to get through. We've had financial strain, just like everybody, especially like in that, when was that, the recession area, like 2008ish, I want to say. Like I can't remember the exact date. Um, and I can say that we weren't really rich, but we've always been okay, right? But what we grew up with was this idea of, if you have two pennies to rub together, you're doing good. Or if you can buy like if you have enough money to go get a gallon of milk, like don't complain, because if you got milk, you're good, right? Why would we limit ourselves to just that, right? Why would we limit that? Um, so I have all these moments, these happy moments, these normal, American dream type experiences and memories that were awesome, but I wanted more. And that used to make me feel terrible. Like I used to feel so guilty that I wanted more, right? the things that held me down were the limiting beliefs, right? The things that were, I don't have enough. There's not enough money. Life is a struggle. There was kind of this theme of don't expect too much, because if you expect too much, you're going to be disappointed, right? There was this basic thread throughout my life that said life is hard. But God says, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not harm you and to give you hope. So if that's the truth, if God wants to give us prosperity and God wants us to live from hope, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? So this is where this book was kind of born from, was the experiences that I've gone through myself. And part of that transition was going from, wait a minute, everything that Jesus taught is telling me that we should thrive and that we should have plenty and that there's abundance and that joy should be our natural state. And I was living from that default program that said life is hard and don't expect too much. I'm going to leave it there for today. And I just want you to know that as we go through this book and as we go through this audio series, I want you to know, take the notes, do the work, dive in. You don't have to wait for the next video or audio to come out. Like, go ahead and go to the Facebook group and download the book and start doing the work. But I'll be coming in regularly, bringing you the next chapter as we go through this book, because I really think that this simplicity of this book, that when my guides downloaded it to me and helped me write it, there's such a simplicity in it. All it takes is that one little aha moment to change your paradigm. And one little aha moment can lead to a different realization and a different idea. And then that can catalyze motivation, that can catalyze change, that can catalyze you even just thinking, what if? And sometimes just believing that there's a what if is enough to start changing your life. Sending you guys lots of love, and I'll talk to you all soon.